Whiteville was cited by the EPA as having exceeded mercury levels in their discharge water. Water that was entering the holding basin for discharge water before it was being released into the swamp had mercury levels that were detectable. And anything that's detectable is above EPA requirements.
We have had a mercury problem here for several years, and when I say that, I really mean that the state has identified that our effluent that's coming out of our wastewater treatment plant is exceeding their standards, and so they put us under what they call an SOC, which is a special. We entered into a special order of consent with them that basically we acknowledge that we do have a mercury problem in town, or they have identified that we have a mercury problem and it's exceeding their standards, and that we take proactive steps to try to solve it. And the first thing we did, of course, like the effluent that comes out of the treatment plant exceeded the standards. So then what we did is we worked back from the system. We just went up the system, testing periodically for mercury levels, and we did that, and we identified sources where mercury was. And the primary source that we identified was our dental offices, and we have 2 dental offices in town, a total of 5 dentists.
As we remove fillings from teeth, amalgam fillings from teeth, we're grinding on this material, and we either create large particles of debris or small particles of debris. It's real easy to capture the large particles and take them out of the wastewater. The trick has been getting or capturing the small particles that are leaving the water. Mercury is very, very difficult to remove from the environment once it enters the ecosystem. I've contacted probably a dozen different companies that were recommended to me by the Department of Energy and Health and Natural Resources in North Carolina, and the only company that I could come up with that had a complete solution was Dental Recycling North America.
We are the pioneers in our technology for capturing mercury-bearing amalgam waste from dental offices and clinics. We have a relatively simple, economical system that's been installed in Europe for over 20 years and here in the U.S. since 1995.
We were having the mercury show up in the influent, and since these dental offices installed some of the equipment that has reduced some of the mercury and all, we passed the influent along also with the effluent going out for the last several weeks, and we've not had anything showing up in the influent for several weeks now.
Kind of being new to this process, I couldn't help but be astounded that Whiteville would get nailed on this issue when there's dentists all over the country, and there's a lot more dentists in a lot of other places than Whiteville. We have found recently that our mercury levels have gone down. So that's good news. We want to continue to work with the dental offices.
So my goal is to clean up my act and certainly do what I can to not put any more mercury into the system. I think that we're going to be finding more and more that the EPA or state governments or the federal government are going to be looking at dentistry to clean up the mercury discharge and possibly go in and replumb some of their offices. Any expenses that have been incurred, I've readily paid for, and we have so many expenses in dentistry. The cost of installing the equipment and changing the filters and recycling the mercury to make sure it doesn't enter the environment is minimal. I know there's a trend to not use amalgam, and possibly in 15 years we won't be placing any more amalgam restorations, but we'll still be removing them. That amalgam has to go somewhere, and it's 50% mercury. You know, the technology exists now to eliminate any additional dental source mercury. I feel the dentists are morally, professionally, and ethically bound to do whatever they can to stop adding mercury to the environment. The most interesting place in Columbus County to me is Lake Waccamaw, which is a 9,000-acre freshwater natural lake. It's the largest natural freshwater lake east of the Mississippi between Maine and Florida. And in about 1994, I read in the local newspaper that high levels of mercury had been found in some of the fish in one of the feeder creeks of Lake Waccamaw, and also in the Waccamaw River, which drains the water from Lake Waccamaw. Because of our efforts in this office, we were recognized by the Friends of Lake Waccamaw, who are a group of people interested in maintaining quality rivers, lakes, and streams, and are associated with some researchers at East Carolina University, for taking steps to lead our profession and lead our community in eliminating any additional mercury. What we need to do is get dentists involved and excited about this. This lake has been clean and safe ever since I've been associated with it. I'd like for it to be that way in 10 or 15 or 20 years when my children try to bring their children here.